It is time to talk about 2026 horror movies. It is that time of the year where all of the announcements are coming out, and I tried my best to include as many of the 2026 movie announcements as I could find as of early November 2025. I'm sure I'm missing some. I'm sure some will be announced before the year is up, but I did try to focus more on the bigger announcements, theatrical releases, and also ones that I'm just personally the most excited about myself. What I'm not so excited about is finding out that I've been paying for the yearly subscription to Paramount Plus because I only really use it in the summer. So luckily today's sponsor, Rocket Money, can easily help me out with that because I don't want to pay for a whole other year if I'm not going to use it until next July. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that allows you to manage your subscriptions, lower bills, make a custom budget, and even grow your savings all in one place. I love using Rocket Money to keep track of all of my subscriptions because I feel like between the random apps that I pay for on my phone and I have every single streaming service, it's really convenient that Rocket Money makes a full list for me so I know exactly what I'm paying for and I can see it all in one place. And the ones that you don't want or need anymore, with just a couple taps on the app, Rocket Money is able to cancel these for you and sometimes even get you a refund for some of the money lost, which I should really take advantage of with Paramount Plus. Also, I love the option to create a custom budget on Rocket Money because I have all of my bills on auto payment, so it allows me to track exactly where my money is going at all times. So not only will it let me know when I have upcoming charges going out, but it will also identify top spending categories and give me insight on how I can budget better and save more money. So make sure to go to rocketmoney.com/possessed or click the link in the description box down below to get started today for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. So we're going to get into all of the 2026 horror movies that have been announced as of right now when I am posting this video. And let me just say, looking at this list, we have over 25 movies and a couple series to mention at the end. But let me just say, looking at this list personally, I think next year is going to be really good. I was not excited for this year going into it. When I made my list for this year, there were a couple standouts, at the time. But little did I know this year was going to be so good. I feel like this year, I really hope it's not like a red herring because just looking at the list, I'm really excited for a lot of these movies. And I think it's going to be a good year. I don't want to jinx anything because last year I said this year might be bad, but it ended up being really good. So this one I feel like might be good. I don't know. Of course, you tell me down below after you hear this movie list. Okay, starting off with January. We have a lot of January releases, which is really interesting because that is kind of the horror graveyard. That's where horror movies go to die. They never really do well in theaters, but you know who's not afraid of a January release? Blumhouse. We got a Blumhouse movie starting off the year on January 2nd called Soulmate. This is Jason Blum, James Wan collaborating again, and this is directed by Kate Dolan, who directed You Are Not My Mother. That movie was okay. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to keep an open mind because a lot of the Blumhouse movies early this year were actually decent. I was pleasantly surprised by all of them. I was not mad at them. So I'm trying to keep an open mind and be a little bit more positive when it comes to Blumhouse. The only thing I'm not excited about, and this might be one of those, AI. I think he's going to start utilizing AI more because he's pro AI. He thinks we all need to get used to it. And I am not for that, especially in arts. AI, I don't like it regardless, but I really, 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 really hate it as a creative for creative purposes. Okay, can we just create art ourselves like humans? We're meant to create art. Thank you. Okay, so Soulmate follows a man who acquires an artificially intelligent android. That's why I feel like he's going to utilize AI for this, to cope with the loss of his recently deceased wife, which I feel like we know where that's going to go. In an attempt to create a truly sentient partner, he inadvertently turns a harmless love bot into a deadly soulmate. This has been done. It's been done. We've seen it before. What was that one Megan Fox one? I don't even know. But obviously we had Companion this year. Very similar. It's always women. It's always women robots. So, I mean, except in Companion, there was one male, of course. But, this, we'll see. Another January 2nd movie is a post-apocalyptic zombie thriller movie called We Bury the Dead. I thought this was really interesting that there is an original zombie film coming out in 2026, in the big year of 2026. Again, I'm not mad at it. it's fine. I think zombies, you know, can be done, but it's just we've seen everything when it comes to that, so I don't know what they're gonna bring that's gonna be new. The concept does sound a little bit cool. So it follows a woman whose husband is missing after a catastrophic military experiment, and she signs up for a body retrieval unit hoping to find her husband, but the corpses start showing signs of life. So it's an interesting setting, a grieving woman, or, you know, a woman trying to find her husband. So there's going to have an emotional element. I feel like there always is sometimes, most of the time with zombie films. But I was just surprised to see a zombie movie on the lineup for next year, especially because later in the same month, we're going to have 28 Years Later Bone Temple, which we'll get to. So on January 9th, we have Primate, which is directed by Johann Roberts, who directed a short in VHS 99 and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So Primate is about a group of friends tropical vacation that turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival. I think honestly, monkeys, untapped territory when it comes to horror. We have them, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we don't, but I feel like out of all the kind of tropes that we do in the horror genre, we don't really explore monkeys that often, and arguably horrifying, more horrifying to me than werewolves, vampires, zombies. Arguably the scariest scene in Nope was the chimp scene. I'm terrified of them. I think they're scary. I don't love looking at them when we go to the zoo, you know, they're just terrifying to me. So horror-wise, I think that could be really good. So I'm excited about that one actually. Also on January 9th, I just want to make a mention of it. Greenland 2 Migration comes out. Not a horror movie. Probably no one else on earth is excited about it. I don't know. I love the original Greenland. And does it need a sequel? No. No, it does not. It was very complete in itself, and I love the ambiguity. Okay, we don't need a sequel, but surprise, Migration, post-apocalypse now. Could be horrifying, but I just thought I'd mention it in case anyone else likes Greenland, the original, and is excited for the sequel. Speaking of 28 Years Later Bone Temple, that is being released on January 16th. So this was filmed directly after 28 Years Later. So they filmed them back to back. And this is directed by Nia DaCosta, which is exciting, and written by Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, of course. And this one sounds really interesting. I think they're gonna stray away from the zombies just a little bit because the description says, in the world of the Bone Temple, sorry, my cat is scratching at the door, which he can just push open. In the world of the Bone Temple, the infected are no longer the greatest threat to survival. The inhumanity of the survivors can be stranger and much more terrifying. So we're obviously going to be following the Jimmies from the first one, and I don't really know what to expect with that. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited because I really liked 28 Years Later. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going to take the story. Next up, we have a movie that will be in limited theaters, so might be one to wait for streaming if it's not playing anywhere near you, and that is Night Patrol, coming out on January 16th as well. This stars Jermaine Fowler and Justin Long, and it is a new writer-director. I believe it's his first film by Ryan Prowse. And this follows an LAPD officer who must put aside his differences with the area's street gangs when he discovers a local police task force is harboring a horrific secret that endangers the residents of the housing projects he grew up in. I don't know anything about it really, but workplace kind of horror. We shall see. I'm a little bit interested in it. Next up, we have one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. I don't care that it looks really bad. I don't care. I don't care how bad this movie could be. I don't. Silent Hill. Return to Silent Hill, sorry. Return to Silent Hill on January 23rd. Now this is directed by Christoph Gans, who did the original Silent Hill movie from 2006, which is why I have faith. It looks bad visually. The wig budget is zero. It's negligent. It's not there. But maybe everything else will look really good. I don't know. I'm trying to avoid trailers and things, and again, it's one of those times where I really don't want to have to put it into the video. I'll put a little bit in for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about, what it looks like. But I have hope. I have hope because what Christoph Gans did with the original Silent Hill movie was fantastic. Obsessed with it. I loved it. So I hope he can maintain that. And this is also based on the Silent Hill 2 game. So that has me really excited because we just finished playing the Silent Hill 2 remake. Stunning. One of the best games I've ever seen in my entire life. I say seen because I don't play them, but I am obsessed with that game. So this follows James, who is a man broken after his relationship with the love of his life, Mary, ends, and a mysterious letter from her calls him back to Silent Hill, and he finds a once recognizable town transformed by an unknown evil. We all know the kind of concept of Silent Hill by now, but obviously I am so excited about this movie, and I'm so excited I don't even have to wait that long. That's like 2 months from now. Next up is a very interesting movie already. Dracula, A Love Tale. Okay, this does not come out until February 6th, 2026, and yet it is going viral, or at least on my side of TikTok. I don't know, anybody else on Dracula, A Love Tale, on side of TikTok? Because everyone's watching it. Everyone is watching this movie already. Yes, illegally. Yeah, they are streaming it somewhere, watching it before it's even out. And needless to say, people are obsessed with it. It looks stunning, don't get me wrong. I see a lot of clips from it, and you know what? I'm excited about Caleb Landry Jones being Dracula. Listen, I have always had a little bit of crush on Caleb Landry Jones, okay? Anybody else? So seeing him in like a romantic role like this, yeah, I'm obviously excited about it. Also has Christoph Waltz in it, so that's cool. It is based on the Bram Stoker novel and is said to highlight the romance between Prince Vladimir and his wife. Now, I've seen a lot of people compare this to Dracula. I believe 1992 is when that one came out with Gary Oldman, and it's like the same story. I don't know. I have not seen Dracula. It is one on my list, though. I really need to watch that movie. Now, what's a little bit unfortunate, it's directed by Luc Besson. Is that how you pronounce his name? Who also directed The Fifth Element, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. However, he's a little bit of a creep. Some accusations and, you know, just not a great history there with this director. So that's a little worrisome and like kind of sucks about this because the movie does look good. So it's unfortunate that he is the director on that one, but you can of course look into that yourself, decide for yourself what you're going to do with that. The next one is another limited theater release one. Again, might be these ones that are like limited theaters might go to streaming really, really quickly as well. I find a lot of movies do that. So we're going to see, but the next one is called Whistle, also out on February 6th. This one I'm excited for because it's going to be the tarot of the year, or the Until Dawn of the year. A group of stupid teens dying. Sounds like a great time. I love those kind of movies. I don't care. I like Until Dawn. I like tarot. So I'm probably gonna like Whistle. So it follows a misfit group of unwitting high school students who stumble upon a cursed object, an Aztec death whistle, and they discover that blowing the whistle and the terrifying sound it emits will summon their future deaths to hunt them down. That concept sounds so cool, and I know it's gonna be a really cheesy, corny, cliche, kind of low-budget movie, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm for that, whatever. I enjoy those movies, but I feel like this could also be a really good, like, big-budget kind of concept if it was done seriously. But maybe it's the kind of concept that needs to be a little bit silly, goofy in a cliche way. It is directed by Corin Hardy, who directed The Nun. I'm not a fan of that. So we're gonna see. I'm excited. I hope it's playing near me because I want to watch it in theaters, but if not, streaming, that's fine. Whistle. I'm excited. Next up, another limited theater release, also on February 6th. That's why I feel like some of these limited theater ones won't make it to theaters in the end, or it'll be extremely limited and then will be on streaming a little bit later. But the next one is called The Third Parent. This is based on a creepypasta series. I've never heard of that. It takes place on 4th of July. Love a good holiday film, and we need more holiday films. Just put whatever story you're gonna make, put it on a holiday and make it like, I want to write a book. I want it to take place on Halloween because then it's a Halloween book and people will read it on Halloween and have a good time. Like, that's, put your stories and your movies on a holiday just for fun, just in the background. Doesn't have to be a main plot point, just for fun. A suspicious character named Tommy Taffy appears, disguising himself as a human to infiltrate a suburban neighborhood to take control of a family. You know what? Tommy Taffy, I don't know if I love that or hate that because it sounds really silly. Sounds goofy, but you know what? The concept, sure. The next one is going to be our next slasher movie to look forward to called Psycho Killer. Super original. Psycho Killer. Great. Okay, anyway, it's out on February 20th. A nameless masked murderer leaves a trail of victims across the US in a chance encounter on the plains of Nebraska. He kills a highway patrolman. The patrolman's young wife is the only witness to this and is also a fellow officer and sets out to hunt the killer down as the psycho killer plans his masterpiece, a mass murder, which guarantees him a triumphant entry into hell. So kind of ritualistic. Sounds like it's going to be a final girl showdown kind of thing. It does star Georgina Campbell, who I love. So I'm excited to see her be a final girl, you know, and kick some ass. And then also Logan Miller. Next up, we have The Bride, which comes out on March 6th. We do finally have a trailer for it, so I'll put in some of that here. I've already reported on this 100 times, I feel like. I've already talked about the cast. The cast is fantastic. It's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's Gyllenhaal. Anyways, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think it looks good. It is obviously a interesting take on the Bride of Frankenstein. So I don't know. I've been excited about it for a while, but I've already talked about it a bunch. So I just feel like not going into it again in depth here. Next up is a movie called They Will Kill You, out March 26th. This stars Zazie Beetz, Myha'la, Tom Felton. Tom Felton. That's a very interesting pick for this movie. Excited for him. Don't get me wrong, he needs to be doing something else. He needs to get some good projects. Anyway, and Patricia Arquette, who is arguably fantastic. So definitely one of my favorites. And this follows a woman who responds to a job ad to work as a housekeeper in a strange New York City high-rise, unaware that several people have gone missing there over the years. So it sounds more like a thriller movie, maybe? I don't know. I just don't see Tom Felton in a horror, but you know, maybe. I don't know. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Corny name. I'm really not a fan of that. It's kind of like Happy Death Day to You as their second movie. It's like, all right. Anyway, April 10th. There's nothing known about the actual story or the plot of this movie yet, but Elijah Wood, who is in it, says that it deepens the mythology and takes place almost immediately after the first one. So that's interesting to me. Again, not a movie I feel like we need a sequel for, but I'll watch it. I'll have an open mind about it. Hate the title though. I kind of hate it. Next up is a movie that was originally announced as The Mummy remake, as, you know, the Universal Monster remake, but they renamed it, thank God, because we don't need another mummy. I feel like we don't need another mummy movie, but it's called The Resurrected now. And I was excited about it because it's directed by Lee Cronin, who did Evil Dead Rise and The Hole in the Ground, which are both fine movies, but it's a Blumhouse movie. It's Blumhouse. I think he's a producer on it. So I'm a little bit more hesitant now. Again, I'm trying to stay optimistic when it comes to Blumhouse movies. Okay, but I still see that and I get a little pang because one, I don't want AI. I don't want any AI in any movie ever, so I'm nervous. And two, he sometimes has a bad reputation for bad movies. So it does follow a father whose missing daughter returns carrying an ancient spirit and a ritual that could save or doom his family. The next one is one of my most anticipated movies as well of the entire year, and that is called Obsession, which comes out May 15th. The reason why I'm so excited about it is by director Curry Barker, who did Milk and Cereal, I believe, last year, and I loved that one. Milk and Cereal was like a 1-hour found footage movie released directly to YouTube for free, so highly recommend watching that. Just search it up, go watch it. So I'm excited to see what he does with like a bigger budget, and I believe it's not found footage, so I think it's just a fully scripted movie, and it sounds really good. After breaking the mysterious one-wish willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he wanted, but discovers some desires come at a dark, sinister price. It sounds very like woo-woo to me, which I love. I love spiritual stuff, so I'm excited for that aspect of it. It just feels like a interesting choice for the story. Maybe you should have called it Limerence, you know? Next up, we have Scary Movie 6, which has been renamed to Scary Movie, but the V and the I are in Roman numerals as an ode to a lot of movies that do that, which I think is funny. And this is finally going to be released on June 12th. I am cautiously optimistic about it. I was never a huge fan of the Scary Movie stuff. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't really like into them as much. You think I would be, but I'm not into parody as much. And as you know, I don't love comedies, like straight comedies. And that's what scary movies are. They're making fun of horror movies. But at the end of the day, they're comedies. So, you know, I don't love them. But I was excited to see Scary Movie returning because I now have seen the movies they are going to be parodying. I feel like that was part of it, is I hadn't seen all of the movies in the past that they were parodying before. So I didn't like get it as much. Not too much has been revealed about it, but Marlon Wayans did say it'll spoof everything from I Know What You Did Last Summer to recent Scream movies to Longlegs. Also Get Out, Nope, and Sinners will be spoofed in these as well. So I'm interested because those movies are going to be funny. I just hope they don't ruin or taint the originals. You know, like Longlegs, I know they're going to go full goofy with that, and I just hope it doesn't like taint the image of Nicolas Cage in that movie. You know what I mean? Next up is Evil Dead Burn, which is the sequel to Evil Dead Rise, I believe. I believe it's a sequel, or it's just a complete other installment in the Evil Dead franchise, but this comes out July 24th. Now the plot is unknown as of right now, so I don't know if it's actually a sequel to Evil Dead Rise. I don't know if there can be a sequel to Evil Dead Rise. Anyway, but the director said it's a film that hurts, from which you come away tested. Can't wait, because these movies are already really brutal and they're not afraid to hurt anybody. So I feel like anybody is up for I don't know. So whatever that means, can't wait. Sam Raimi is also a producer on it, and Lee Cronin and Bruce Campbell are executive producers on it. So it will hopefully remain faithful to the rest of the Evil Dead franchise and like kind of fit into it, because all of them are good. I think all of the Evil Dead movies are good in their own ways. You know, there are some better than others. I love the Evil Dead remake from 2013, or the reboot, whatever you want to call it. So I hope this one stays good. I think it will because of everyone working on it, but I have high hopes for it. The next three are also some of my most anticipated movies of the year. So the next one is Resident Evil by Zach Cregger. Never thought I'd say a Resident Evil movie was one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. However, he is kind of ignoring all the movies because he says he's never seen them. I don't know if that's true necessarily, but he's ignoring the movies. Okay, forget all those. And we're focusing on the game, on the actual game of Resident Evil, games, I should say. I'm not sure which game, or if he's like incorporating something from all of them, but I do know it takes place in Raccoon City, and I know it takes place in a snowy setting. It's being filmed in Prague right now. It will be released on September 18th next year, and I'm so excited because he loves the video games. I also love the video games, all of them. They're so good, especially the last couple of them. Oh my gosh. And I love Zach Cregger. I love Zach Cregger's work, so I'm excited to see what he does with a video game adaptation. Like, that's untapped territory for him. So I know he's excited. I'm excited. Next is a movie called Other Mommy. Now, I didn't even realize this was going to be an adaptation of a book I just read in October. You could watch me read it in this blog up here, in reading the scariest books I've ever read. This book is one of the scariest books I've ever read. And I said that on TikTok, and all of a sudden everyone disagreed with me. There were a bunch that agreed, but it's 50-50 whether it scares people or not. A lot of people are really annoyed by the characters themselves and the dialogue, because it's from the perspective of an 8-year-old girl. So yeah, it's really hard to describe the reading experience of reading Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. I didn't even say the name of the book, but that's the book. It's based on that. This comes out October 9th. Perfect. Great, because I just read it on October 9th this year. So for me, it's a Halloween book because I read it in the month of October. So next year I get to watch the movie in the month of October. It just worked out perfectly. And it stars Jessica Chastain. Love her. Which is funny because I think about Mama, because Mama is also about another mother. Okay. And now we're getting Other Mommy. I assume she's going to play the mom. And then Jay Duplass, I believe, will play the dad. Now, it's directed by Rob Savage, who directed Dashcam, which I love. But he also directed The Boogeyman, which was just okay. So hit or miss there. I hope he does good with adaptations. If you don't know what the story is about, it's a terrifying supernatural trip into the darkening world of a young girl as her family and their home are haunted by a sinister entity that is determined to take up residence inside her. But first, it needs to persuade her to to let her in. I loved the book. I loved it so much. It's heavy, it's dark, it's disturbing, it's horrifying. Genuinely one of the scariest books I've ever read, but the caveat is a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people were bored out of their minds reading it, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. I actually think what I pictured in that book is 10 times scarier than anything they will execute on screen. And you can mark my words, maybe I'll eat them, but I feel like they cannot make it as scary in movie form as it is in book form. So if you want the full experience, read the book first, okay? Let your imagination run wild, because it will. And it'll be scary and it'll be horrifying. And then you can watch the movie, because whatever they're inventing, I feel like isn't going to be good enough for what I'm thinking about. So the last movie that we have an official date of, we have a bunch more to talk about. Don't worry, a bunch more that just don't have official dates yet, but they are going to be released in 2026. But the last one we're going to talk about is Werewolf by Robert Eggers, coming out Christmas Day. Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, and Rafe Ineson. Is this Nosferatu 2.0? Because it's same cast, same director, period piece, but now it's a werewolf instead of Nosferatu. Listen, I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. Although that recipe worked for me with Nosferatu, okay? It's set in 13th century England. It just started filming a couple weeks ago, and it centers around a mysterious creature who stalks a foggy countryside as local folklore becomes a terrifying reality for the villagers. Werewolf. We know. We kind of get it. Now, Robert Eggers did say that he would probably never make a movie that is not a period piece, so we know what to expect from him until the end of time, most likely. He just doesn't want to direct a movie with a car in it or a phone. I don't know. I feel like that alone can be a little bit problematic because, you know, of his casting. I feel like it's not very diverse when you do a period piece. His period pieces, I'm not saying period pieces cannot be diverse. They absolutely can be, but he chooses for them not to be. So that's a little issue. I'm still excited about it. I think I think it'll be good. I'm just thinking like it's the same cast. He cast the same people. It just better be a little different. It will be, because it's a werewolf, not a vampire, but like, it's gotta be different, right? Okay, so here are all the movies / series that have TBA dates. So we have Wolf Creek Legacy. I like the Wolf Creek movies. I think they're really good, very brutal. That is supposed to come out fall of 2026. Smile 3. I think this, you know, it's rumored 2026. I think it's probably going to be more likely to be in 2027, if I'm guessing. Which, just saying that number, it sounds so like futuristic. 2027. How old are we? Anyway, and then Crystal Lake series has finished filming, I believe, and we are getting some information more about that. That'll be streaming on Peacock sometime in 2026. I think it would be great to come out in the summertime. It's Crystal Lake. Camp Crystal Lake, Jason, summertime. Bring it out. Now, I did want to update They Follow, because I've been seeing people make collages of like movies they're looking forward to in 2026, and they always include They Follow. I was gonna say It Follows. They Follow, which is a sequel to It Follows. However, they're only hoping, this is what Micah Monroe said, they're only hoping to film in 2026 because everyone's schedules have been really busy. So they haven't even started filming yet. There's just no way it's going to be released next year. Hopefully 2027 though, we'll get a sequel for that. The Backrooms. We only got a poster and the year 2026 on there. So I'm not sure when that is going to be released. Now, it will be done by A24, and it'll have the youngest director in the studio's history of a 19-year-old Kane Parsons, and it's going to be based on his own viral YouTube horror universe that he debuted back in 2022. It was like a series on YouTube that he did, a sci-fi horror film series. I don't care. It's called The Backrooms. I'm excited. The concept, fantastic. I always thought Ryan Murphy would do a Backrooms season for American Horror Story, and he never did, so too late, sorry. Terrifier 4 will be released in 2026 at some point, and that will be, I believe, Art the Clown's origin story, and it will also be the final Terrifier movie ever. And then finally, the Carrie series by Mike Flanagan, I believe, has wrapped filming. They finished filming, so that will be released sometime in 2026 as well. I'm really looking forward to it because I love Mike Flanagan, everything he does. So I'm excited to see what he does with Carrie. He's done Stephen King adaptations in the past, like Dr. Sleep. I don't think it necessarily needed to be made, but you know, because it's Mike Flanagan, I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna be excited about it. So that is all I have to report on as of now. There are tons more like horror news announcements I could talk about in a different video, but those have not been confirmed for 2026. So I'm just strictly talking about the year of 2026 in this video. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below which movie you are most excited about and anticipating in the year of 2026, next year. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited to watch? Anything that I missed, please also leave in a comment down below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.